Aliyah did say I have a special whistle. And she shot 13 today.
She did that to you?
Yeah. Yeah, she said the last game I had a special whistle, which is cool.
That right there. That's the comment that the entire sports world dismissed as a sore loser's temper tantrum. But what if it wasn't a complaint? What if it was an accidental confession? A'ja Wilson thought she was calling out a single game's bad officiating, but what she actually did was expose a secret that the WNBA would do anything to keep buried. Because that special whistle she complained about was very real, but not for the reason she thinks. Many of you watching have been flooding the comment sections and Reddit threads, pointing out that the numbers in Game 4 just don't add up, and you are on to something massive. Because today, we're going to filter out the noise, connect the dots, and show you how a shocking 34-11 free throw disparity wasn't just a refereeing error. It was the result of a deliberate, top-down course correction from the league office, a secret directive designed to reshape the narrative of the entire series. This is the real story of how A'ja Wilson's meltdown exposed the league's hidden memo. We are a community of narrative analysts here, and our mission is to uncover the story behind the story. If you believe in that mission, do me a favor and hit that like button. It's a small click for you, but it's a massive signal for us that you want this kind of deep dive investigation. Okay, let's get into it. Before we can expose the cover-up, we have to understand the official story. The narrative the league and the mainstream media sold you was a simple, feel-good fairy tale. It was the story of the battered, bruised, and overlooked Indiana Fever, a team missing six of its players, including the face of the league, Caitlin Clark, staring down elimination and pulling off a miracle win against the two-time defending champion Las Vegas Aces. It was a story of grit, resilience, and the mantra of "we over me." On the flip side of that coin was the ugly story of the sore losers. The narrative painted A'ja Wilson and her coach, Becky Hammon, as arrogant champions who, when faced with real adversity for the first time, threw a collective temper tantrum. They blamed the refs, complained about the whistles, and refused to give the Fever credit. It's a clean, simple story. It's also a complete misdirection, because buried beneath that convenient narrative is a statistical anomaly so glaring it's impossible to ignore once you see it. The final free throw tally: Indiana Fever, 34 attempts, Las Vegas Aces, 11 attempts. Let that sink in. This isn't a rec league game. This is the WNBA semifinals, featuring the league's most dominant dynasty. Are we supposed to believe that a disciplined, championship-caliber team suddenly forgot how to defend and just started hacking away, committing 3 times as many fouls as their opponent in the most important game of their season? Or is something else going on here? That disparity isn't just a data point, it's a giant, flashing red flag. It's the loose thread that unravels the entire official story. What do you think when you see a number like that? Is it just a badly called game, or does a 3-1 free throw disparity in a playoff elimination game signal something more? Let me know your gut reaction in the comments below. Because for this entire series, up until Game 4, the officials had established a clear and consistent pattern. The Las Vegas Aces were allowed to be the aggressors. Now we're digging into the territory that the mainstream sports media absolutely refuses to touch. But the evidence has been right there in the game film all along. According to widespread reports and fan analysis, the Aces were consistently benefiting from what insiders call soft whistles. They were allowed a level of physicality that the Fever simply were not. Don't just take my word for it. Let's look at the tape. This is a play from earlier in the series. Watch Lexie Hull try to set a routine downscreen, and then watch the league's MVP, A'ja Wilson, deal with it.
other plays where it felt like Asia was bullying other players on the Fever. And I want you to watch this play here with Lexie Hull. She's standing her ground. She's trying to down screen and Asia just chucks her to the ground. Now there was no whistle there and you can see ref number 16 right there. He's watching the whole thing happen. No whistle. They just
She just chucks her to the ground. There's no whistle, no call, nothing. The ref is literally staring right at it. This wasn't an isolated incident. This was the unspoken rule. The champions got the benefit of the doubt. Aliyah Wilson was allowed to bully, to push, to control the paint with a level of force that would have sent any Fever player to the line with a foul. This was the established norm. This was the environment the Aces had grown comfortable in. And it's the single most important piece of context you need to understand what happened next. Because heading into an elimination game in Indiana, the league office had a choice. They could either let the series continue on this path, with this clear officiating bias, and risk a blowout that would end the series quietly, or they could intervene. Okay, this is where we have to connect the dots, like true narrative analysts. The theory circulating among insiders is that before Game 4, a directive came down from the league office. Not a dramatic, movie script memo that said rig the game for the Fever. It was something far more subtle and far more brilliant. The directive to the officiating crew was simple: call the game strictly by the book, on both sides. Think about the genius of that move. The league didn't have to invent fake fouls against the Aces. All they had to do was enforce the rules as they were written. They knew that the Aces' entire defensive strategy was built on the physical, aggressive style they had been getting away with all series. The Fever, on the other hand, had been playing a more disciplined game, driving to the hoop and trying to draw contact that never got called. By simply deciding to enforce the rulebook, the league knew it would create a seismic shift. Every bump, every hand check, every bit of contact in the paint that the Aces had been using to their advantage would suddenly become a foul. And every aggressive drive to the rim by players like Aliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell would finally be rewarded with a trip to the free throw line. The course correction wasn't about creating a new reality. It was about finally enforcing the actual reality, and the league knew the Aces weren't ready for it. And with that one simple, secret directive, the trap was set. Now let's go back and watch the Aces sideline meltdown again, but this time through the lens of a team that feels completely and utterly betrayed by the system. First, look at Coach Becky Hammon. This is a champion, a future Hall of Famer, known for her composure under pressure. Yet in Game 4, she completely unraveled. She was so rattled that she burned a timeout she didn't even have, resulting in a technical foul and giving the Fever a free point and possession at a critical moment. That's not just a mistake. It's a sign of a coach who has lost control because the game is no longer following the rules she's used to. Her post-game press conference says it all. She was asked to give her thoughts on the flow of the game, a standard question. A coach who feels they were simply outplayed breaks down the X's and O's. A coach who feels they were cheated sounds like this. Next question. That's not an analysis, it's an accusation. It's the sound of someone who knows they can't say what they really think, that the rules were changed on them mid-series, without getting a massive fine from the league office. Aliyah Wilson's reaction was even more telling. In public, she tried to maintain her composure, sticking to the script of needing to play better defense and protecting her brand. But you could see the frustration boiling just beneath the surface. And in a candid moment, we got a glimpse of the truth.
You're gonna have 4.
What? Oh my God, that's interesting. That's what I was looking at. But we'll do better. We gotta play better defense.
By interesting, do you mean that shit?
Yeah, I can't say that because I got a brand to protect. But
I'll say it, I have no brand.
yeah, it's interesting. But we'll be better.
That's the real story. Her polished brand says the situation is interesting. Her true feelings are that it's complete nonsense. Her special whistle comment wasn't just a random jab at Aliyah Boston, it was an expression of pure confusion. She was dominating her matchup, playing the same aggressive defense that had been rewarded all series, and suddenly, the whistle was blowing every time she moved. In her mind, the only logical explanation was that Boston was suddenly getting special treatment. She was right about the whistle being special, but she was completely wrong about why. So that brings us to the final and most important question. Why? Why would the WNBA risk alienating its biggest stars and its dynasty team to orchestrate a correction like this? For any narrative analyst, the answer is always the same: follow the money and follow the story. A 3-1 series victory for the Aces would have been predictable, boring, and most importantly, less profitable. A dramatic underdog story where the injury-riddled Fever force a winner-take-all Game 5? That's a ratings goldmine. That's a story you can sell. Let's not forget the larger context here. The league is riding the massive wave of the Caitlin Clark effect. But with Clark herself sidelined with an injury, the WNBA desperately needed a new, compelling narrative to keep those millions of new fans glued to their screens. The grit-and-grind Fever forcing a final, deciding game against the evil Empire Aces is a perfect script. It was a cold, calculated business decision. A Game 5 isn't just another basketball game. It's a premium television product. And the league, through one subtle directive, ensured that product went to market. And this is what put A'ja Wilson in an unwinnable position. By publicly complaining about the special whistle, she walked directly into the league's narrative trap. She couldn't expose the sudden shift in officiating without also implicitly admitting that she had been benefiting from the previous biased officiating. She was cornered. If she stayed silent, she would have lost the game. But by speaking out, she lost the narrative war. The league got its Game 5, and A'ja Wilson became the designated villain. The wave of social media backlash was immediate and brutal. Fans, armed with the simple story of a sore loser, bombarded her accounts, calling her a crybaby MVP and mocking her for not giving the Fever credit. The league's subtle course correction worked perfectly. It not only extended the series, but it also directed all the negative fan energy onto its biggest star, deflecting any and all scrutiny from the officiating and the league office itself. So, when we filter out all the noise and look at the complete picture, the verdict is clear. A'ja Wilson was right. There was a special whistle in Game 4. But it wasn't an anti-Aces conspiracy. It was the sudden and deliberate removal of a pro-Aces bias that the team had taken for granted. Her meltdown wasn't just a temper tantrum, it was the raw, confused reaction of a player who realized the invisible rules had been rewritten without her knowledge. She thought she was exposing a bad call, but what she really exposed was the invisible hand of the WNBA, shaping its product for maximum drama and profit. So, what's your take on all this? Was this a brilliant business move by the WNBA to create a more exciting and profitable series? Or was it a dirty trick that compromised the integrity of the playoffs? Let us know your verdict in the comments. If you believe the real story is always deeper than the headlines, make sure you subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell. We are tracking these narratives 24/7, and you don't want to miss the next investigation. And finally, if you know a fellow narrative analyst who needs to see the real story behind this drama, share this video with them. Help them see past the official story.